Hey my funky fresh viewer, welcome to another epic episode of Mac Music Review. In this episode we're looking at the album Welcome to the New by MercyMe, and this is the album cover. Welcome to the New is the 8th MercyMe album, which means that the generous Mr. Lovewell is number 6. Sorry I didn't know that earlier. The album in between these two was The Hurt and the Healer, but we'll talk about that album later. Right now we're talking about this one. I don't know why I'm doing it in this order, I just feel like it. And this album has a unique place in MercyMe's discography because for two reasons. One, it's one of their most commercially successful with 4 hits: Shake, Greater, Flawless, and Dear Younger Me. The first 3 of those are huge hits. Like Flawless, I remember trending on the iTunes most popular music videos for months. I mean, that video was so popular for some reason. I mean, it's a solid video, but it's nothing crazy. Then yeah, Greater, Shake, and then Dear Younger Me is the smallest of these hits, and the last of these hits got played on the radio much later than the other ones, but still a hit and a very, very good song as well. This album stands out in their discography as one of their most upbeat and energetic, and really has this feel of a pop rock album, but the rock has a bit of a southern twinge. Really what the rock sounds most like is Black Eyed Keys inspired rock. So it's kind of muffled, it's kind of raw, it's kind of, rough around the edges kind of sound, kind of rough sounding instrumentation, not super clean, not super polished, even though some of this album is very clean and is very polished. The rough soundingness is more of an aesthetic than what, authentically rough instrumentation, because this thing definitely had a large production crew, and it's very cleanly produced. Besides the parts that obviously are supposed to sound rough, which do sound a little bit rough, but I don't know how to say this, but yeah, whatever. This album kicks off with Welcome to the New, a song that's very energetic but also bright and cheery, especially with those backing vocals that play during the hook. The na 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 na, very, American authors, just kind of feel good vibes. So it's kind of a poppy way to start, kind of good energy, and it's a very solid way to start the album. Then you have Gotta Let It Go, which is, like I said, one of those rough around the edges kind of sounding songs from those Black Eyed Keys, muffled, kind of, I still haven't used the right word I'm looking for. Kind of rough and that's not, I don't know what to say. I don't know the right word. But Gotta Let It Go is a jam. It's a rocker. It rocks hard, and it's a jam. Shake is a, Christian pop version of Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. I mean, I've heard people say that before. It's not really that, but you can see why, it's just you gotta shake, shake, shake. And this one also has a bit of a southern kind of twang to it. And it's a fun song. You're probably really sick of it if you listen to Christian radio as much as I did. But yeah, because it played it non-stop, but still, it's a fun song. Greater is another solid song with a very solid hook, very, very solid, well-written lyrics. And it's weird. It's the best written MercyMe songs usually end up being the ones that become hits. The ones with the best lyrics, which is interesting. But this is an example of that. Finish What He Started is literally just an after song. It sounds musically, note for note, lyrically, word for word, sounds exactly like a song by the Christian pop group, the Christian pop rock band, The Afters. Literally note for note. It's surprising to me that this is a MercyMe song, because it so blatantly sounds exactly like an after song. And I'm gonna say that's a bad thing, just because it's why were you mimicking the Afters? I mean, it's not even a great group. It's why would you mimic them? It literally just sounds exactly like an after song, and that's gonna be a no for me, dog. The music on Flawless kind of makes me want to kill myself. It's just, I've heard this song so many times, and it's so, it's so meh. It's so, not passionate, and not distinctive, and not, I mean, it is distinctive in my mind because I've heard it so many times, but it's just such a blah song. It's such a toothless, just toothless production. Well, the lyrics are very, very good, admittedly. Just production on the song, I just can't get behind it. It's just, no, I can't do it. It makes me just feel depressed hearing this music. Immediately want to turn this off because it's like so generic to me. It's just so dead. New Lease on Life, once again, the lyrical theme of this album, Welcome to the New. I haven't really talked about this, but the lyrics are about, you know, it's about being like this and now you're like this, which I think is the most uninteresting. It's like not being a Christian and then being a Christian. And like all these artists make these songs about not in Christian contemporary music, about, oh, I wasn't a Christian, but now I am. It's like contrast of the old and the new. But the lyrics are super generic, totally unspecific. They don't explain ever why the old life was bad. And they just say, oh man, it's just so awesome. The new is so awesome. I love being a Christian. I love this transformation. And it's just this generic message. And that same message is said over and over again on this album, especially on New Lease on Life. Like, it feels so tired. This subject feels so tired by the time we get to this song. Even so, the music on the song is awesome. Once more, it has that Black Keys, rough around the edges, kind of epic, southern twinged rock, pop rock music. And it's a lot of fun. Like, musically, this song is really great. But lyrically, it's just meh. It's so meh. Wishful Thinking is really, really good, and I wish it came earlier in the track list because it gives a totally new perspective. It literally changes the narrative of the album, because Wishful Thinking talks about how he was a Christian and he lived his life, but he's saying, is it physically possible? He's saying that as a Christian, he came to realize something. He lived his life as a Christian, but then much later in life, just now on this album, he learned something new about his faith, or learned something new about what it means to be a Christian that he didn't know before. And now that he said his life is almost completely different, he's completely changed, which makes the album a lot better. It actually flips the narrative and like, oh wait, this isn't just someone who wasn't a Christian becoming a Christian. This is someone who was a Christian realizing that there's more to their faith, realizing there's more to being a Christian than what they had previously thought. They're growing as a Christian, which is a much better theme. Also, musically, the song is really good. It's a very slow pace. The pacing of this song and the music on this song is totally unique to the album. And one of the most unique songs of theirs, just the pacing and just the way it progresses. It's a really, really nice song. It's a really great song. I just wish it came earlier in the track list. Burn Baby Burn sounds just like a Time Stand Still era Family Force 5 song. Like, exactly. The music, and that actually makes sense because David Garcia, I'm pretty sure, produced Time Stand Still, and he was one of the producers on this album. And I'm sure I would bet money that he produced this song. It is kind of it's kind of a huge anthem kind of song, like pop rock anthem with electronics thrown in. And it's a great song. The production is really, really good. It's just very much like Family Force 5, which actually isn't a downside just because the song is so good. Lyrically, it's of course very meh. Like, there's nothing cool here, nothing great here lyrically. But musically, this is a really, really, really good song. I really like the way this song sounds. And then this album has Dear Younger Me, the closer. One of the most personal songs this guy's ever written, which it's not even that personal. It could, once again, it's Christian contemporary music, so it could apply to different people. But it is a song where Bart Millard, I think that's his name, the lead singer's name, reflects on his life, and he asks the question, if I could go back in time and talk, and you know, as the song, it's addressed to him talking to himself, Dear Younger Me, and it's him contemplating, if I could go back in time and talk to the younger version of me, what would I tell him? What would I change? What would I make him, what decision would I tell him to make or not make? Or should I do it at all? Would I tell him anything? Would I just let life continue to where I am now? It is a really, really emotional and really effective song that is just really great and works really well. And I think it's one of the best MercyMe songs, honestly. Yeah. Welcome to the New. In a way, I really, really like this album. Like, once again, like with The Generous Mr. Lovewell, there's a lot to like on this album. Lyrically, though, once again, same problem with Generous Mr. Lovewell. Parts of this album are kind of toothless. Some of these moments are very, very good. And lyrically, some of these songs are very good. But some of them are not. And also, musically, not everything on here is great. Even though musically, this is a pretty solid album. Shake is a little bit annoying. Flawless just makes me brain dead. Finish What He Started is so generic and sounds so derivative of another really popular, or not as popular as these guys, but another popular Christian contemporary music band. And while musically it's a solid project, lyrically there's misfires, musically there's misfires. It's not, it feels consistent, but it's not exactly consistent when you look at it either lyrically or musically. But almost every song on this album, really every song on this album, does have something to offer other than Finish What He Started. Even lyrically, that song's not bad. Even so, this is a very good album, but it's hard to call it a great album, so I'm going to give it a 3.5 star rating out of 5. Yeah, this is honestly a super solid album. I'd highly recommend this. It's not to the point where I would recommend it if you're not a Christian or if you don't like Christian contemporary music, because it really is just this really upbeat pop rock Christian contemporary music record that doesn't push boundaries. It really, creatively speaking, this album isn't as creative as The Generous Mr. Lovewell. Like, Generous Mr. Lovewell had the title track, which was really interesting. It had the outro, which was really bold. It had the final song that wasn't the outro, that was really ambitious lyrically. It also had Crazy Enough, which is just a song that's not like any other song they've ever made. And then the hits on that were very good. But yeah, both albums had their own strengths and weaknesses. If you ask me which one's better, I literally could not tell you. Like, it's that hard to tell. Like, ranking the MercyMe albums would be hard. Like, you'll see when I rank these other albums, they're all like almost the exact same quality level, which is very good. MercyMe is a very consistent band for the most part. And this is a really good album. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.